On the 13th of December, I uploaded a video detailing the time I knew and dealt with one of the most pathetic, and I dare say worthless, representations of mankind, which for a long time I called a friend, that I knew since secondary school. It detailed his repeated disregard of my needs, my boundaries, and his attempts to gaslight and provoke me in order for him to appear the better man in front of his missus, his family, or whoever it might be. So it's essentially your typical narcissist. To summarise everything that has been said in the previous video, before anything bad happened, while we were still in contact, he used to seldom meet up with me outside his house, and it would always be me travelling quite a lengthy distance over to his house. But his lack of effort, pardon me, didn't bother me at all. Not one bit. We were great friends. We made like fucking videos together. We've made relics that I still have on like my older channel, which is pretty much inactive and has every single video that's just like privatized. And yeah, that's all that mattered to me. But everything started to go Pete Tong when he threatened to disclose a sensitive matter about myself to his brother just because I denied being hit by a sock in one of our play fights. And so I told him I'm not coming over to his anymore, and instead insisted that he comes out to see me instead. During that time he was just asking for money multiple times, first for a tenner, then 20 quid. I gave him the tenner, but I would not give him the 20 unless he met me in, let's say, anywhere else besides the city. He only wanted to meet in the city, even though he knows far too well why I will not come into the city. Meanwhile, he would still ask for the 20 quid. Is my camera... I think the camera's not really in that good of a position, so let me just... Meanwhile, he would still ask for the 20 quid, so I decided I would ghost him. And he never asked me during this time why I haven't got in touch, so he seemed to be pretty much unbothered. Fast forward to November. I'm in a family feud. I ring him up, and if I can stay over. And during this call, he does say he's always going to be my friend, and he said this to me in text before. He's said this previously, like multiple times, in spite of like what he's pulled off in the car with his brother. But I bought it quite naively, because we've made videos together. Like I said, we've made like memories that I still have on my like older channel that highlight the best parts of our time knowing each other. And so on that day, I sleep over, and so does his partner. Everything is okay, and I'm assuming he's not going to slip up. The day after, I wanted to go to football club with him to see him play, but he did not think of warning me that we were going to travel via the city. Pardon me. So I decided to somewhat face my anxiety head on and tell him and decide we can go in the city. I'll go into the city with him, but do not walk me through the shopping mall, please. I told him very explicitly. He made me walk through anyway. After his game, I met an old acquaintance we used to go to the same school with, and their family knew my mother's side of the family at the time, so I saw her as a cousin. We were super excited to see each other. Certainly didn't want a date. Definitely did not want a date. But we exchanged numbers because she didn't have Facebook, Instagram, or anything else. He advised, if I can even say it that way, that I should ask her out on a date. I was absolutely sure I did not want to ask her out because she's from my school, and because of her relations with my mother, I saw her as a cousin. I didn't really think of saying this to him, but I mean, you know, what's the use of reconciling with someone who just wants to push you to the limits, you know what I mean? But he kept asking why I'm not going to ask her out, and how am I going to be a happy man when he's trying to get me a girlfriend or and have a social life and all that, coming from the person who doesn't want a social life himself. But essentially his advising was policing how I make my decisions as if it's his life, and essentially winding me up to the core. So I stood my ground. That is what I did. I stuck my ground, and I told him exactly, fudge off. I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I can here, and let me make my own decisions for myself. And that wasn't just because of that occasion. This was manifested from when he took me through part of the city that I literally told him not to. So on our way back, he texted me while we were literally 3 meters away from each other on the bus, and on top of the stairs of the bus, he did everything he can to gaslight me in order for me to and provoke me and make him look good in front of others when they didn't even know the entire situation. And He would just lie through his teeth about trying as hard as he could to be my friend, after not only walking through that one part of the city I begged him not to, but even admitting himself he doesn't give a shit about anyone who gives him the time of day. The video in question that I put up on the 13th this month garnered around 400 views. And out of those views, I assume only 40 people actually watched through the entire thing and gave it a like. Now, I've interacted with every comment there in some way, shape or form, and whether it be a love, a pin, or even a direct reply. My gratitude towards everyone who actually sat down and watched the entire thing is endless. It is endless. And I did not have any high hopes that it would reach any more than 5, never mind 40. And for the record, that video in its long form, out of any other that I've made before on this channel and even the past channels, is the most liked. So specifically, around 1 like in every 10 views. That's just an estimate. And that's some amazing engagement for an unedited raw video that is performed quite poorly in clicks or impressions. And if I'm right to assume that only 40 viewers have actually watched the whole video, it's not enough. It's not enough for me to make this right. Even if 100% of the view count, as it is now, watched the video, it still would not be enough. And for me, the only way currently that would make this right is for that video to reach thousands exclusively from the United Kingdom. And until then, I'm not shutting up about this. I intend to take the story to my grave, because throughout all of my time growing up in a land like the United Kingdom, I have been surrounded by pride, being, exhibited from like staff at school, students even in school, especially those who might bully you, and even my parents as well, who throughout my whole lifetime I've so reluctantly called my family. I've never been able to properly stand my ground against pride when it happens in real time because of my lack of sufficient strength, whether it be physical, emotional, and when I do, I'm either risking my life or I'm in a worse position in the future, and whatever way it happens, however much of my dignity is still abducted. One problem that I probably should address about my video is that it's overwhelmingly biased. And it might seem that way to any further viewers who find the video in spite of its positive reception so far. And so one viewer suggested using the evidence as my leverage. Now, I don't know if that's an appropriate way to put it, as it sounds a little boastful, but I suppose what he is saying is to demonstrate the evidence to prevent the facts, that I know that what the facts are, from being taken out of context or doubted by others. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that is happening behind the scenes, but as I said, I'm not shutting up about this. I do want to make this follow-up to try and confirm as many facts as I possibly can. Because while both sides can have their opinions, it's the facts that can actually decipher why these sides have their opinions as they are, and can allow you to definitely now come to the conclusion of who is actually in touch with reality. And so these are the receipts that I still hold to this day between me and Callum on Discord and Facebook Messenger. I do have to say a lot of the text will be redacted, a lot of it, as it discusses sensitive topics about myself and even Callum. So the little respect I even have for him left, it still remains. I've had to prepare myself for a good 10 minutes to try and read from these receipts, because these are not really this is not going to be a pleasant experience to read. I wanted to try and send a voice clip to him. Well, for the record, Belafketh is me, Zen is Callum, so I'll just read the names as they say on the receipts. But I tried to send him a voice clip first, just to really emphasize in my tone how disappointed I was on what he did in the car with his brother. And when did this take place? The 20th of December. So this might have been the night after, I'm not exactly entirely sure, but I was over at my granddad's house on the 20th of December. I wanted to wait until I get home I wanted to wait until I get home. It's blunt, but I can't just let it pass. I have a huge problem with you now, and before I never had in all of our time knowing each other, until you threatened that you would tell your brother about XYZ if I didn't do what you wanted in your brother's presence. Zen, you were trying to call me a liar. I don't like people calling me a liar. That's why I said that I wasn't actually going to tell him. I'm like a vault. Next time, don't lie. Just for the record, he actually already, at that point, mentioned some vital keywords that would be enough for anyone to guess what the actual matter, the sensitive matter, was about, that he was going to threaten to disclose. So he's not really the vault that he idiomatically claims to be. Belafketh, it's not that deep. I'm not as bothered about people knowing I get slapped up by a sock. I'd rather that than the other matter. My point is, you know how that has affected me. I wasn't expecting you to do that at all. Zen, you're fine, just don't lie next time, capiche? Belafketh, it's put me off of coming over to yours. It's affected my trust in you, as how any normal person would think and react. Zen, do what you please, Jonathan. And that's my actual real name, but I'm going to refer to the names as how they say in the receipt. Belafketh, do I at least get an apology? Zen, for what? Shouldn't you be the one apologising to me for lying? Belafketh, our banter can be ridiculous. We both know this, and that's all I ever thought it was. I know you are no deceiver to anyone. If it really did bother you that much, then you should have sat down and discussed it with me inside. That way I would have known sooner what tends to get to you. And this is the thing, I had no idea why he did this. Well, not truly until that conversation. You literally had nothing else to gain out of the act of blackmailing me. And I won't sugarcoat it, that is literally what it was. Other than getting a rise from who was supposed to be your friend, even if it meant, I don't know, treading over his boundaries. It might say something else, but the information's redacted for a reason. It obviously refers to something which I'm just not comfortable with disclosing, and you 100% know this. What happened isn't a shred of importance to you, a complete disregard of my boundaries. If you went ahead with what you planned, and if I didn't do as you say. Do you know why I hate the other person so much? This other person also knows the same matter as Callum does, and was not very good to me. He's not a good person at all. We'll call him Jeff. We'll call him Jeff, and we're going to be talking about Jeff at some other point later on in this video. Zen, I'm just going to be the bigger man here and say sorry, but it would also be nice if you would apologise too. Belafketh, okay, that's fair. So will I. It's not something I thought would get under your skin, so I am sorry. Well, I take it back. I take it back. We would have been much better off if you waited until we arrived and you discuss it with me, however. Zen, it's just I've been lied to a lot in my life. Because of that, even the slightest lie boils my blood. Belafketh, Callum, that makes total sense. I've been lied to by my family, and friends have even deceived me too. Of course, the whitest lies don't personally bother me, but people have done a good job in turning me against others who I was good friends with in his own way. Or in their own way, I should say. I just tell you why I have so much bad blood against Jeff. This just makes us want to come out the other screen and just hospitalise him. Just outrageous. This is why you've got to speak out about this to as many people as you can, but only those who are on the same level of intelligence as you are, because when you're in a conflict like this, and you've got a witness, or multiple witnesses, I would assume they have nothing but good faith on the condition that they are, of course, neutral. They might even want to mediate both the parties. But when the evidence is clear that the other person is the direct cause of everything that's unfolded, but then all the witnesses say that you are the problem, you're going to end up believing them and spending X amount of time to figure out what the problem is with yourself, but you'll end up going insane and never actually figuring out what this problem is, because you're not the problem. It's also very relevant in my opinion because he knows about the same information as you do. Our third time being friends only lasted for about 2 weeks, but when we made up again after he was texting me when he wasn't supposed to, his first reaction was that he was annoyed, but he made the impression that it wouldn't affect our friendship if we were to befriend each other again, and that it would be kept within our confidentiality without even saying so. So not long afterwards, I sensed so many red flags. One that he always did, which was the reason why I cut him off twice, is that he would state that I'm incredibly selfish just because we both didn't come to agreement on where we could go, or even the absolute smallest things, and he would try his absolute hardest to manipulate me into doing whatever he wanted. So, on non-mutual agreements, essentially, I had to let him know we couldn't meet up, but we were still free to text each other. He then pretended to be suicidal, literally, because he didn't get his, I think the bigger reason why he pretended to be suicidal was because I said to him, we can't meet up anymore. But for a good minute, I believed he was. Lee and his friend was with him while he was pulling that off. Now, as he did that, I texted his mom in case if it was true, because at the time I still cared. But I also had to cut off everything with him. He was still beg and plead after being explicitly told we're done. And the last words he texted me was something that I'm just not comfortable even spilling any clues on. Do you want to take a guess what happened next? Zen, not really. Velázquez, because you don't care, right? Zen, it was a joke, bro. Oh, but like, I mean, apparently you're doing something else alongside while I'm just like explaining what he actually did to me while you're fucking busy filing your cat claws. Is it really a joke? I will say it either way so I can get this off my system. It might also help if you get an insight on the kind of situation I'm in right now. He passed my phone number over to someone, giving the job of a flying monkey to contact me and affect my livelihood, let's just say. I can't give, like, you know, the full context behind the redacted parts because they're redacted for a reason, as I had said earlier on in this video. I also want to remind you, during the time you were arranging a school reunion, you begged me to make it up between each other again, and when I explicitly told you he has not get through to me anywhere. I'm also sure I could have told you why, but possibly not the entire story, which now you know. I remember this. I have the receipts to this conversation as well. I will go over them after this. Zen, that little midget couldn't do shit. Velázquez, that's not the point though. Just in case if you think so, I'm not bothered if you're still speaking to him. He may be some sort of benefit to you. Who you talk to in your time is nobody's business. It's your life. Everything I stated in these events, I just want to reiterate, this is what happened and that's what he did. Zen, if you think I talked to him, then you're delusional. Velázquez, well, you wanted to invite him to the reunion. That is true. Because, obviously, if you want to invite someone to the reunion, you've got to flip and talk to him, haven't you? Zen, that was ages ago. I've cancelled that shit. Velázquez, I can only say from here that I can't come over to yours anymore after that night. But because you've done the most you consciously could to make up for it. He hasn't. He really hasn't. It would be enough for us two to continue contact online if you're ever bothered about that. I should have fucking stopped everything with him. I should have went no contact. We're fucking done. Zen, you really want to do that, Jonathan? You've got no one. I'm literally the only person who you can go to. But if you want to stop that, by all means, be alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm absolutely not alone. I have the viewers who are watching this, and I admit that obviously it's the viewers who are watching this. I only really have like the chemistry of a content creator and like a fan. I mean, I don't intend to like make this like a full-time thing. I'm making raw, unedited videos, but there's at least 40 people that I know that have watched the entire video, the previous one anyway. And I know there's going to be some that are watching this one as we speak. And there's no words that can ever express my gratitude for sitting down and actually watching through this. in spite it doesn't have any fancy Mr. Beast effects or anything. And that's the state of YouTube it's in this day, but thank you. And this is genuine. Thank you. Ilafkith, a big part of me does not. Pardon me. I really wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. I saw a massive red flag waving right in front of my face that night, and it was a big thing for me. Zen, you need to let the past be the past and move on to the future. I'm there for you always. I was doing exactly that until what he did that night in the car with his brother. How am I going to let the past be the past and move on to the future if he is bringing it back multiple times? Who is the one that's holding me back from letting the past be the past and move on to the future? Who's the one holding me back now? About the receipts that we had during the time he was trying to arrange a school reunion, and we're talking about Callum again here, I thought it'd be best to explain the context behind the receipts first. And this is going to involve some phone calls that we had, and of course the receipts itself that we had during his time arranging the school reunion, which didn't happen, by the way. I don't really remember everything that's happened or exactly everything of what happened, so I just have to say that this is just to the best of my recollection. So during March, he invited me to a school reunion, and we had this call on Discord. I asked just out of curiosity if Jeff was coming along. Jeff was coming along, and we've talked about him just before, and he said it's not confirmed, but he is inviting Jeff, that to come along to the school reunion. And regrettably, I had said that if Jeff's coming along, you're going to have to count me out of the school reunion, and I am sorry. I am sorry. Like, I would love to come to the school reunion, but I just can't be around people who have wronged me, And he asks why. And I think I tell him only half of what I've tell him about Jeff in the last receipts. So, to summarise it, that he's a sociopath, and that he is literally that. And I have said this exactly to Callum, that Jeff is a sociopath. And he's like, oh, these are people from our school. Why not just try and get along with each other? So why not try and get along with people who have constantly trespassed and wronged you and made your life living hell? You know what I mean? So because of the way how he was going on and how everything I was telling him, he wasn't really validating it. Well, I wouldn't say validating, just believing, like, a friend. Not even just believing him, just understanding that he's got something against, some other person. Just the fact alone, because of the fact that everything was going in one ear and out in the other, I thought it'd be a good idea to just tell him, while he was arranging the school reunion, do not mention me to him. On our next Discord call, which might have took place the day after, I'm not exactly entirely sure, I don't remember. I vaguely remember him screen sharing. Whether it was accidental or not, I again don't remember. But what I do remember is I remember him screen sharing his receipts briefly between Callum and Jeff. And the way how I remember the receipts going is that Callum asked Jeff what he was like with me and Jeff. And Jeff thankfully replied, I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. So in summary, after being explicitly told, do not mention my name to Jeff, he does it. So let's just go over these receipts right now. I think the first call was when he screen shared his receipts with Jeff, and I'm waiting for my mic to connect here. I think that's why I say RTC connecting, and obviously I continue, I think, speaking through text. But then I continue on as Bilathketh. Real smart move mentioning me to him. Don't really appreciate it that much. Well, you just wouldn't. Because, like, if you've explicitly told someone like Jeff, do not contact me anymore, and then someone else who you're good friends with at the time mentions, like, his name to you and tries to get you two back in contact, you're not going to. You're definitely not going to. Bilathketh, you did say you were inviting Adam too, right? Mr. Quest, this is one of his alternate accounts, that because he kept losing his Discord accounts. Yep. Bilathketh, if he knows that you're inviting Jeff, he won't come either. Well, that's just me just assuming something. Bilathketh, which I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose or not, but just a heads up. I'm sure there's more than us two from our school that aren't really fond of him. Mr. Quest, fucking hell, who else are you enemies with? The matter's not even who I'm enemies with. It's who I have to protect myself from, to prevent them from trespassing me and being wronged. And believe it or not, I don't have as many enemies as you think I do. As a matter of fact, you're one of my enemies. You're my enemy. And let's just get that straight. Bilathketh, can't think of anyone else, really. This is what makes reunions fairly hard to arrange, unsurprisingly. I mean, there were people in our school that had enemies with others or didn't think fondly of them. Mr. Quest, facepalm. Bilathketh, you've got to remember what it was like at the time. Our community of students weren't really as strong as average. You want to hope everyone you're inviting will mix well. I'm getting a sore throat from speaking. Mr. Quest, we all know that our school was an atrocious place. There's obviously more detail to this, but it's retracted. It would be healthy and nice to see our old classmates and see how they're doing after such a miserable place. Bilathketh, the classmates that you have had a good historic relationship with, or anyone outside of your class. My point is that not everyone is going to think of the same of what you think of the people you're inviting. Mr. Quest, I can barely Mr. Quest, I can barely remember anyone from our school or what happened. I try to forget as much as possible. Bilathketh, you even said yourself, bad experiences from certain individuals, including students. Of course, we all know that there is always good people in certain places, but naturally for us it's hard to spot anyone that objectively isn't troubled. Our school accepted anyone. Yes, even if it was someone like Callum, which is another Callum, not the Callum who I'm talking about here. And Mr. Quest even says himself, I think Callum was one of them, and I say immediately afterwards, you know from the back of the head the people I'm obviously referring to. Mr. Quest, just send me a list of people you don't mind being there. Bilathketh, you mean who I mind? And he says, yeah. I wouldn't know how many people from the back of my mind I'm okay with, but I can certainly give you a list of peeps who I've had a bad experience with. Are you alright with Jordan? Goes on Mr. Quest. And this is his second name, which is retracted, and he confirms, yeah, that's the person I'm on about. And obviously I say, no, I'm not okay with him. I ask, were you thinking of inviting him? Yes, he says, Mr. Quest. Lol. And that's exactly what I said, because he was going to invite me to a school reunion without telling me that he was going to invite someone like this, who through some of the times has trespassed me and like I would probably even say traumatized me, but even with that he was still going to invite me without even telling me he was going to bring him along. Mr. Quest, haven't sent him a message yet. Bilathketh, is that when he didn't he not used to bully you? I can't exactly mention what happened here and what he said because it's related to possibly his sensitive information when he was part of and Mr. Quest confirms that yeah, that is what happened. And I say, no, actually I'm not even sure what a lot of this is retracted. Honestly, there's so much personal information about the both of us in here that I just have to retract it. I'm just going to write the list like you requested. Mr. Quest. The biggest one I remember was when X, Y, and Z happened, and Milathkith, yeah, that's the one I was on about. I mean, you certainly don't have to call off the people on my list. It just means if you're inviting those, I won't be coming. So I'm actually being really graceful to him here, and actually reminding him this is pretty much your reunion that goes by your terms, so you can invite whoever the fuck you want to invite. It just means that if you're inviting along X, Y, and Z, I won't be coming along. So I give my list, and that's the full list that I can think of. So he just repeats me there and just confirms to himself and us that these people are a no-go list. And I say, yes, Mr. Quest. Okay, so is everyone else okay then? Milathkith, I say again, if you want to still invite any of them, you can go ahead. Milathkith, I continue. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else. I assume you're inviting people outside your class too? Mr. Quest, I don't think so, but I probably will have to, considering the amount of people we're not including. I know others from, I think he says outside of our class or something. It's redacted. I'd have to look back at the receipts. That weren't in a class that I can bring them. What about this person, which is redacted? And I say, he's fine. This is another receipt that we've had. This, I think, is about our friendship and where it's going. Because, obviously, I'm not sure what the early texts are referring to. Actually, the string of texts, the reason why there's a straight string of text from my end is because I was talking to him via text while we were on a call. And I didn't have my mic connected. Like I said here, I don't have my mic connected. I don't know what all these texts are referring to, but from here I remember what was mentioned. I live in X area, which I'm not going to say. I'm going to keep private. Milathkith, have you ever tried coming over to mine? And I think he says, not really. Well, he must have said no. So I go on, why can't you come yourself? And he says he doesn't even know the directions. And so I say, that's fair enough. What's the likelihood you can make the effort to come yourself even after showing you the directions? And he does say 9%. And I reply to him saying 9%. That's beyond disappointing. Are you even asked to meet your friends anywhere, even if it's a little distance from where you live? I haven't got an answer back from him ever since then, I think. I think we cut the call short. He gets back to me 2 days later and says, geez bro, I'm not reading all that, plus I'm your only friend, so you get what you're given, don't be ungrateful. And I say to him, as Milathkith, that was while we were on a past call and I didn't have my mic on. I was speaking through text. And I mean, if anyone had been a bit nosy and decided to have a say on these transcripts, they would think you're more likely not grateful. You just gave my brain an aneurysm reading that. The reason why it gave him an aneurysm is because I'm right. Can I just ask, what did you say the likelihood was of you coming over to mine if you knew how to get there exactly? And he says 16%. It wasn't that, it was 9%, because it's literally there in the earlier part of the transcript. It was actually 9% at first, and I repeated after you while I didn't turn on my mic. And so he said, so 19%. The 9 was for if I didn't know the way. No, it was for after I showed him the way. And he has actually been over to mine before, but I was the one that actually took him over and showed him the directions. So I actually went with him. I first went over to his house, and then I took him to mine. We've been without contact for months before, right? Yeah, that's completely normal. We hadn't spoke for years until you found my YouTube some time ago. What are you getting at? Milathkith, would you say that it's normal for us two to suddenly ghost each other now, despite that is not what I want to happen? Milathkith, you've expressed that you don't care very much about having a social life while I was over at yours. You not wanting to come over to mine yourself at some point in the future backs it up too. It's a real bummer, mate. Quest, I can't be bothered with drama. I said I'll be coming over to yours, so stop your pitying before I shove an ice pick through my skull. Milathkith, we're not having drama. I'm just simply expressing what I'm thinking, why I feel this way, and where I believe where we are at. Ultimately, I'm actually being very critical of him. I am criticizing him very heavily, but there's rationale behind it. The past few months, everyone who has been actually dying to meet me were narcissists who just wanted to tread over me endlessly. You are not that. Well, that fucking statement aged like milk. Quest, I'm not the social person that I wish I was. Honestly, I give zero fudges about anyone on this planet. You're lucky I even give you my time. You're the only person I really give this to. That's like saying that I don't have respect for anybody with Down syndrome at all, and that my neighbour that has Down syndrome is lucky that I even treat him with the decency that he deserves. Ultimately, I still only respect the one person with Down syndrome that I know is my neighbour. Milathkith. That pretty much sums it up. Milathkith, you can't help how you feel either, so fair play that you own up to it. There's clearly a middle ground with you, though. You're not like Jeff or anything similar to him. There's so many people that I know whose source of dopamine comes from exploiting others in different ways, and you're definitely not that. Quest, I get mine from life-threatening experiences. I love doing dangerous shit. It's what gets my heart pumping. Milathkith, fair play. Quest, actually the only thing in life that makes me happy is things that put me in danger. But basically what I mean to say is, that I continue, at least you don't want to put others in danger. You're not a dick. Quest, I'm definitely a dickhead, there's no question about it. If only I just caught on to that foreshadowing of what the future held. He wasn't kidding when he said that. He was not joking at all. I thought he was. Milathkith. A lot of people who I've been meeting up with the past few months are that. And I don't think you are. Quest. Anyways, I'm trying to watch Netflix, so fuck off, you're distracting me. Milathkith. It's rather nice outside, you know. And I'm joking here. Obviously, I'm telling him to go and touch grass, but I'm just joking here, as we usually do. Actually, before we get on to the next receipt on Messenger, when did these two conversations take place? The 21st of March, and then the one with the school reunion was the 17th of March in 2024. These two receipts took place a whole, not even a year and a half before the incident in the car with me, him and his brother. Facebook receipts. Okay, so I'm kind of ahead here. I'll go back a little bit. This is the start of what I think are the important receipts that hold the facts of what I've mentioned in a previous video. So 20th of May of this year. Well, it'll probably be after New Year's Day that I'm probably going to upload this, but I'm recording on fucking hell, Christmas Eve as we speak, but at midnight. I basically said to him that I do want to come along to the caravan site because he invited me along to come with him to the caravan site, but it was with a few of his friends from school reunion, and they looked pretty damn rough as well. They looked pretty damn rough. So I did say to him I do want to come along, and I would come along, but I just, I need to be absolutely positive that you're not going to do again what you did in the car with me and his brother. I asked if he wasn't going to slip up if and when I do come over to the caravan site, and he says it's all good, I'm not going to slip up. I can't obviously play with the voice clip because they're PNGs, they're screenshots, in case if I needed to redact anything that was sensitive in this. And yeah, that's all I think is important in this page. 7th of June, I gave him his bank account, my bank account details, because he asked if I could borrow money on a call. I don't know what came of him, because he's never asked to borrow money from me ever. Prior to this screenshot, he never has previously. But I thought I could give him it anyway, because, small favour for a friend, you might as well. I could try and earn his effort into our friendship back, maybe by doing him just the small favours, even though friendships have really never be solely based on, or even based on transactions at all. But yeah, I lent him the 10 quid that he asked for, and he gave me it back afterwards. So Yeah, happy do. Now we sorted that out on the 9th of June and 7th of June, and we go to 12th of June. I actually try to initiate a conversation. I tell him what's happening. I ask him what's happening. I don't get a reply from him 2 days later, and he asks if he can borrow from me again. I ask how come. So essentially, why? Why do you want money again from me when you've never asked for money from me before? I'm broke. It's the second time you've texted me on your own accord in the past 2 weeks. I'm not confident. And the reason why I say this is because he's never asked for money from me prior to this. What are you actually spending your money on? Why is my mouse having a little spasm? Doesn't matter if I give you the money back. I'm afraid this one's off the hook. It provides a little screenshot of who he owes money to. So it looks like, I don't even know what that is. It looks like some Gmail site. I don't even know what it is. It will be the pay this. Only need 20 quid from you. I'd say to him, no can do, for obvious reasons. The better question is, when are you in? And he says, never, I'm always out. I think I meant to ask him when he was free. And it just, I was just having a little block out in my mind, I suppose. So then I ask, how will we meet? And he says, like at a club or something. And I'm assuming he probably means like I don't know, a community centre or something, I don't know. Or a nightclub, I haven't a clue. It's just a little random what he said. So then I wanted to propose a deal to him and say if we meet at X area, which I obviously have to keep redacted, I'll lend you the 20. And he asks, oh, could it be today? Do I get it today? And I say, probably not today, just whenever, as long as it's no later than 2 perhaps. And he says, free 20. And I say, I think it's fair, because it's been 6 months since we've actually last properly spoke. I just want us to be on good terms again. Personally, I see you as a friend, and I don't want to be playing the role of having been laundered money if that's the only way I can put it. And so he says, set a day then. I suggest Monday, assuming it's not a long weekend after Father's Day. And he sends a thumbs up, so I assume he agrees with the plan, and so the plan's going forward. And so, just as a side note for him, the number X bus from your station goes to the area quite easily. I'm more than happy to meet at this area. And then he says why is my mouse doing this? He says the city centre. I was hoping you would know I do not want to go in the city centre. And he says you'll be fine. I obviously say no. I think I would be fine now, but I mean, you still got to like have some consideration. I'm not available these next 2 weeks. Not even Monday, or the Monday coming, I should say. Can't Mondays. Which days then? And he says, any day that isn't Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I say, Thursday? And not this Thursday, as I'm at the caravan, but can do next Thursday, as he's at his missus. Alright. So are we agreeing at... I actually have to be very, like, clear, and I have to confirm where we are actually meeting if this has to go forth, and what, you know. Are we agreeing that we are meeting at X area for 1 or 2? And then he says again, city centre. I'm very firm with him here. I am not going to the city centre. And he says the area that I've suggested is just as bad. The X area is small though, not as populated. What are we supposed to do in X area? And then I say there's a nice walk along the river which leads to Y area. It's where I filmed one of my music videos, which he has watched. Really, you want to go on a walk, XD? Like, what's wrong with like going on walks? Some life that you've got to be living. It's better than nothing. We can stay around the shopping centre for a bit first. I can bring my DS's if it helps. My missus can't walk much, bad back pain, so can't do that. I mean, there's probably other stuff to do at that area. But then he says the city centre, you got to live a little. This text is explaining exactly why I just do not want to go into city centre. It just highlights his neglect for what his friends' needs are, you know, which is redacted. And then I send another massive text. The number X, which is the bus, takes around 40 minutes from yours to get there, probably the same time to get to the city centre, but it's pretty much only one bus. If you're able to get to the city centre, no bother, then I don't see any reason why you can't get to X area. I can't insist on us meeting there if you don't wish to, but what I think should matter to both of us is our quality time we spend as friends, rather than the amount of activities we can do in a certain place. I just want you to put some effort in our friendship for once. Do you have any other suggestions on where we should go? And he says Z area. I ask, is there a train station at Z area? He says yes. Then I'll come, because it's not a city centre. Okay, nice, we know a good pub. On Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, or when you were with your girlfriend? No, the football. Oh, so you're still at the football club? And he says, yeah, the other days are when I'm with my girlfriend, so my girlfriend will be with me when you're here. Are you with your girlfriend this Tuesday at Z area, I'm guessing? No, he says, so it's still the 26th, the next Thursday. That's still quite long away from me, though. And he says, yeah, it's about an hour and a half from me. I'm itching like hell. I meant until the day we met. It's 2 days before I go down south in the UK. And he says, okay. I don't know if I'm able to do next Thursday, actually. I plan on getting there by coaches. And that is true. I actually went down south by coaches, and it is a pain. Which means going down south about a day or two earlier, but late at night to get a direct coach. Well, it's actually 2 coaches. I'll be making the booking tomorrow, so we'll see what we can do then. And I say, I think this conversation takes place the day after. And this is about when we're meeting up. The train station at Area Z is literally still being renovated, because I'm trying to find a way how I can get there without actually having to travel via the city centre. The train is active in Z area, as I have got them with my missus already. Thursday 19th, I'm at the caravan, so the Thursday after, I am free. So why can't I find the station on the website where I book my tickets? It's called such and such station, not other such and such. Such and such is the second station being built, and then that's when I realise I have to travel via the city. So I have to... I tell him, well, I don't think I cancel it here. Do I cancel it here? No, but I realise, and I say to him, I'd have to get off at the city centre and change. I can't do it. And he asks why. We would have to do the same, though. And I said to him, I assumed that there were direct trains, especially via a certain service. And he says, well, unfortunately, that's not happened. I can get to A to B direct quite easily, and then a bus to the Z area. So I was actually planning on getting like a bus and then a train, which is quite a pain. I tell him I'm going in the bath, and I say to him, it turns out I actually can't come on the 26th. I'm going down south for the event on the 28th, which is Saturday. And he says, what about 24th? To get there by coach while saving my money, I'd have to go 2 days in advance to the event. Yeah, we could do 24th, but aren't you at the football club then? And he says, not on the Thursday, I'm at football on Tuesday and Wednesday. And I realise that the 24th is a Tuesday, and he says, yeah, it doesn't matter, can't do the 24th. And so it seems like that we would have had to see each other after I go down to the event down south. And again, he asks if he can give me the 20 quid before I go down south. I obviously say I will not. I'm sorry. And he says, tips, that's short for typical. What have you went and done anyway? Got yourself in an unarranged overdraft. And that's technically a debt. And he says, no, just like to be prepared. I've literally no clue what I'm like prepared for what. If you're that desperate to ask money from like anyone, even if it has to be like someone who's you're supposed to be calling your friend but you haven't seen for 7 months, then there has to be some like small debt in your bank account. So 14th of June 2025, that's when that conversation took place. So just at the last minute, well, not the last minute, but the day before, and this was when I returned from south, my foot was completely swollen, and the reason why it was swollen was because throughout the 11 hours of traveling, I was sat completely still. I was sat completely still because of my eczema. It flared out, and I didn't have the cream to treat it, and because of that, there was something going wrong with my blood circulation, and it happens when you stand still for prolonged periods of time, especially in public transport. There's a name for this phenomenon. I can't really remember what it's called, but basically my foot's swollen and I fucked up. It was basically my fault that my foot was swollen, and I just had to give it the rest. I need to give it the time to get better. So in this voice clip, I said to him, I can't come because my foot is absolutely killing me. It's swollen, and I fucked up. I have to admit that I did fuck up, because this would have annoyed anybody. This would have annoyed anybody to cancel it at the last minute. And what I was beating myself up more about was this was the only chance I could have actually saw him. Really, this was the only chance I could have actually met up with him. Because if I don't meet up with him that day, when's the next time we're actually gonna have a chance to meet up? So he says it's okay, we will set another time at some point, and then I ask him this next voice clip, when is that some point going to come? And he says he's busy, let's discuss it at some other time. Could have just discussed it literally now in a span of 5 minutes. He asks the third time if he can borrow 20 quid, and I tell him flat out no. He says fully this time, typical. We haven't seen each other in ages though. I am still a man of my word. I can give you the cash when we next meet up. Friends who haven't seen each other for 7 months do not ask each other for money. Not from the world where I come from. So a few weeks later on, in July, I sent him a 11-minute voice clip. It wasn't about us two. It was about another matter that was actively ongoing. It was really upsetting me, and so I sent him this 11-minute voice clip to really put our friendship to the test. I put it properly to the test to see if he would actually even listen to a second of the voice clip. I even leave out some additional. And there's even some additional details which are redacted about this matter that was ongoing in my life at the time. And he says, "Fucking hell, you expect me to listen to an 11-minute voice message?" At that point, honestly, I knew that this guy at the time was a completely lost cause, and I knew I had to just leave him on hold. I did not block him. I unfriended him, but didn't block him. He was free to text me whenever he wanted to, if he wanted to actually make amends. He was free to do that, but obviously he never did, and neither did I. Because I knew this was going to be a lost cause. Fast forward to November, I've already explained this, family feud, and then obviously I ring him again. We arrange a day to for me to sleep over. I don't even have to explain again how we've led up to this point where in this receipt, which is the last time I think we actually speak on here. I've explained this already. There is no need for that today. I was just trying to help, but you clearly don't want it, so I'm not going to help again. But I just want to say the way you acted in front of so it's always got to be about how he appears in front of his missus, or his father, or his brother, or his mother. This is something what my father would say. My father would say something like this. He's got a different face with me on than he does with his missus, and anything that I do is completely harmless or just not wrong. He would pull me aside and scold me and say, you don't have to do that though, don't you? Because he's that concerned about his own self-image around his own missus rather than the love that he has for his own partner. Stop recording. It's always got to be everyone who stands for what's good, right, and true that is constantly persecuted, even in times when they do absolutely no wrong. And even with that being said, everyone has done wrong before, myself included. But it's always got to be those who are trying their absolute best to work on their imperfections that are persecuted, while others who repeatedly trespass someone else
get away with it scot-free every single time. This year Charlie Kirk was shot on a university campus in America. I mean, one of the most tragic things I've ever seen. Like, the guy of course had some argumentative tendencies, and he's admitted it himself that while he was on this earth he is far from perfect, and I share some of the same views with him, but some of those other views I disagree on. Not at one or any point will I or any other normal person condone killing him. There's no reason why it's justified. Because we've all got to think about it here. This is a guy who had a family, a wife and daughter, to be exact. And this family was possibly one of the healthiest, close-knit families that could ever lie on this earth. And if I'm not mistaken, his wife actually attended the campus that day and witnessed him being shot. So to lose your husband by breaking up is one thing, but to see him assassinated while you're still there, and you're still married with him, that's a whole... that is a whole different kind of torture. That's a whole different kind of torture. And meanwhile, the liberals, if you can refer to them as liberals, are celebrating his death. Now, I'm not making any judgment about like politics. I don't care one bit about politics, and I don't want to make this a personal matter between like myself and any of the viewers who might be watching this. But if you're actually celebrating his death, would you celebrate your partner's death for any reason, or your death? Because what you have to consider is that that death did not happen to you, it did not happen to your partner, or anyone else who you're close with, whether it be your family. Death happened to him. It happened to Charlie, and it was completely out of his will. I guess the whole premise that I want to relay is that we, as a human species, are cursed to such a huge magnitude. And as extreme of an example I've given, it's also to further remind you all there is a distinction between one who actively and willfully lives in sin, and the other who puts in the effort to sin as less as they possibly can. And we're talking about someone here, and we've been talking about someone here who I've known since secondary school, and the videos we've done together around 6 years ago is now history. And as much as I want to cherish these videos we've done, it's impossible for me to watch them properly without developing this angst of my own. And considering I cannot see him the same way that I used to anymore, I'm contemplating even deleting these videos. And as in regards to these videos that I'm making, including this one, I know it's not going to reach the thousands that I desperately want this to reach. I already know this. And it's not because experiences like this are uncommon or unrelatable, but because a sacred being died on a cross for all of us and our sins 2,000 years ago. And so this explains how everyone who has trespassed me has got away with it every single time. But the way how I see these videos and I make of their outcome, I'm not alone. I'm definitely not alone. And I think I did a really good thing for the viewers to speak up about this. And even if it's not going to reach the amount of viewers I want it to reach, we're about being genuine here and authentic with each other as a community here on this channel. And I thank my Lord and Saviour that we are here to share this. I also thank my Lord and Saviour that I can live the best moments of my lifetime on this earth, because were it not for him, our species would be extinct. I will lay off of this topic for now, and the next one might be either about being yourself or something else, who knows. I want to thank every single one of you who at least watched through the entire video, and I hope that you can stay around for the next. Have a happy new year.